exercises as well too, as well as really powerful writing exercise. This is inspired by my coach, Dr. Robert Melillo, who leads these amazing life plan workshops, and I've gotten a lot out of it so far. And I want to just simply pass this forward and be able to bring in my spin with my years of experience in teaching yoga, meditation, and even working with people in the office as a neurologically based chiropractor. So if this is something that you're interested in and you want to be able to refocus yourself and reset, it's like a vision board, but it's like a really fun way to be able to really truly be clear on what you're doing. And so this is on January 26th at from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And for individual, if you're signing up, it's just $60. And for if you're signing up as a couple or a family friends pair, it's $75. And so if you're interested in signing up, text me at 720-667-3650. Again, it's 720-667-3650. You can just say retreat in the text. Just say quote unquote retreat, and I will get a hold of you and I can answer any questions that you may have and get your spot registered. All right, I look forward to being able to see you. Now, with that said, another thing that I'd like to be able to mention too is for our Denver Metro local residents. I know that this is a really challenging time, and it's scary because some days it's like, how am I going to get my bills met? How am I going to feed my kids? How am I going to take care of my animals? And we have a really great resource here at the station that we're connected to. It's called the Food Bank Integrated Family Community. The Food Bank Integrated Family Community, and they have lots of foods. They have diapers and formula for your babies. We want to make sure that you are supported and you're not alone in this journey. And please take advantage of this because we have lots of resources for you. And this is through the Food Bank Integrated Family Community. Their phone number is, drop this down, 303-789-0501. Again, it's 303-789-0501. If you're struggling, you're needing to just get by with food or whatever you need, supplies that you need at home, don't hesitate to call and just check to see what they have available. And chances are they do. They'll have something available for you. So with that said, I don't know about you, but for me, since the pandemic has happened, there's a lot of uncertainties, right? And I have to admit that even as a health practitioner myself, I'm not God, right? I still feel neck pain. I still get headaches. And for myself, I've had previous injuries that from time to time, it really acts up. And so oftentimes when we feel those types of different symptoms, we can easily blame it and say, oh, it's because I slept wrong, or oh, I was sitting for a long period of time, or I was doing something in the garden, and this is probably the reason why my body's feeling the way it is right now. And so oftentimes we look at some sort of cause and effect between what we're feeling and events that happen, and usually it's something that's immediate. When we look at the mind-body connection, it's not just looking at the cause and effect, it's actually looking at the relationship between the cause and effect. What is the relationship of that you have with the neck pain or the headache that you may be experiencing? Why is it showing up chronically, or why is it showing up at certain times of your life? These are really important questions to start to navigate to help you become more attuned to the emotions or attuned to the thoughts that you're going through every single day right now during times of uncertainty. And when we listen to the news, there's a lot of different things that are hard, from the pandemic and the uncertainties and businesses not opening up ever again because of the shutdown for such an extended period of time, money and job loss. And then we're also experiencing a lot of racial incidences. In the Asian American community, just in Colorado, we're seeing an increased number of those incidences that's being reported. And at the same time, across the media, recently we've had riots, we've had deaths related to racist acts, and it's unfortunate. And when we hear these, of course, there's emotions that's being riled up. There's our own personal experiences from our how we understand the world that's being challenged, and we're given an opportunity to see where we are aligned right now in our own personal connection with our community, our country, and it's a challenging time because it brings up some really deep questions of how can we have conversations with our family, or what are the appropriate conversations that we have with our children so that they can learn from what they're hearing or what they're seeing, or as they're navigating through the challenges in life, they are empowered because we have some way to be able to have conversations with them. But what does that look like, right? And so as we're navigating through a lot of these unknowns in our life, and it's not just countrywide, right? It's looking at our own personal relationships, our marriage, our if we're caregivers, how are we taking care of our loved ones? If we are teachers, how are we supporting our students from this virtual world? So all these different unknowns that we are constantly juggling in our own little world, and then outside in the community, in our country, and even globally, there's a lot of different things that may be stirring up. And during this time, it may feel ungrounded, and you may start to feel a lot of maybe more tension throughout your body that's going to speak to you more loudly. And it's not just related to physical activities then. It's going to be related to what you're constantly thinking about, what you're constantly focused on, or the repressed emotions that you haven't allowed yourself to truly experience because there perhaps is some discomfort behind that, or the control that you're holding on to, but the unknown of how that can be, of how we can start to release that. And so, with that said, the big introduction to neck pain and headaches, let's bring it back a little bit and let's talk about the physical aspect. For the physical aspect, when we think about neck pain, you may be feeling pain that may be radiating down your neck on either sides, or maybe when you turn and you may notice your range of motion is limited, or you may be even noticing that it's just this constant feeling of it's there on one side or the other or both. It's affecting how you're moving your shoulders, or how you're sitting, or how you're focusing with work. And at the same time, you may also be noticing that when you have tension headaches, that it just feels really tight. It feels like there's some pressure that's constantly there, and you can't seem to relieve it. And so I want to be able to talk about the physical aspects behind that first, and then we'll dive a little bit more into a breathing exercise and mindfulness exercise to help you get more connected to what that feeling is, right? And the emotions involved with it. Because when you become attuned to that, that's when you can start to change your outside experiences or shift how you're perceiving the world from an inside-out approach. And in turn, that will start to shift your patterns, and over time, that may help to contribute with how you're moving your body and how you're taking care of yourself too. So with that said, we want to be able to talk about, I'm just going to demonstrate a few different things. So the good thing about these exercises is you don't have to move around or stand up. You can be practicing this in the middle of your workday. You could just say you just get off a Zoom call, right? And of course it's great to go for a walk and move your body around. But if you're just needing a little bit of a breather, it's a really great way to check in with yourself. So a couple of exercises that I like to be able to do in the morning and even throughout the day is where we're going to start off with stretching out the SCM muscles, so sternocleidomastoid muscle that extends from right behind the ear all the way out and down into your collarbone and inserts there. And then at the same time, your scalenes that also insert into from your skull all the way down and into your first and second ribs. So we're going to start to just stretch those muscles out first. And what those muscles do is it helps to flex your head forward, and it helps to rotate your head from side to side. Now, oftentimes when you're sitting in front of the computer, or if you're texting, you're activating those muscles frequently. So oftentimes You may be sitting, and all before you know it, those muscles, over time, you may notice your head protruding forward a little bit more because you're looking at the computer, and then shoulders start to hunch. But what's happening is those muscles are tightening up, and and as you're staying focused, it starts to pull your posture, the alignment of your spine, out as well too. And so now something to help to kind of stretch that up, especially if you're holding this chronically, whether you're texting or you're sitting or reading or doing something. If there's a lot of forward motion, we want to open that up. So again, it's really simple. Is you start off and you start to, let's just say you're sitting on your chair. I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to grab the edge of my chair here. Now from here, I'm going to see if I can pull this forward a little bit more with the microphone. You're going to grab a hold of a chair, and that's really simple. Is you just laterally flex your head. So you're going to lean your head over to your right shoulder if you're mirroring. So you're going to lean your head over to your right shoulder, and then from here, just do this a few times. So some motion to it first. So as you inhale, you lean over, and as you exhale, come back to center. Inhale, nice slow breath in. Feel free to close your eyes and just enjoy that stretch. And exhale, come back to center. Do this for about 5 rounds here, 5 to 10 rounds. And then after those 10 rounds, you're going to come back, or 10 reps. You're going to come back and lean over. You're going to hold this, and then gently, you're going to rotate upward towards the ceiling. So essentially, as I'm doing this, my left hand's grabbing hold of my chair, so I'm pulling my shoulder downward. I'm leaning my head away towards my right shoulder so that I'm stretching out through the left sternocleidomastoid. So I'm stretching out through the muscles on the left side here. And I'm opening up, and then just gently, maybe even just breathing, taking your hands, if you're a tactile person, and just bringing your hand to those muscles right around the front where your throat is, on the side, and then inhaling through the nose. Nice, slow couple rounds of breath, and exhale out. And as you're inhaling, and you're breathing out, as you're just focusing on your breath, you're just starting to notice that even your thoughts start to quiet down a little too, which is amazing. And then slowly come back to center. And then roll out the shoulder if you need to on that side. And you can switch over to the opposite side. So gently take your right hand, grab a hold of the edge of the chair that you're sitting on. If you're not sitting on a chair, you're standing, you can also place your hand on the table and then do the same thing. And on camera, I don't know exactly how I can move, but anyways, working with this. But you're going to grab a hold of that chair, and same thing, or hand on a flat surface, or even if you're seated on the floor, press the hand down, and then so you're depressing that shoulder, so the shoulder girdle, the whole shoulder aspect is drawing downward, and it's pulling through, and you're stretching out as you laterally bend the head over to the opposite shoulder. And as you're doing that, you can even put a little bit more pressure by taking the opposite hand and then gently place it and slide it over around your head. And then, once again, before you actually hold that static pose, which I'm really good at, you want to do some mobility, some motion there. You may notice that after 10 reps, you'll be able to move a little bit further, and that's great. And so as you do that, you complete your 10 reps, and you hold, and then slide the hand around. Feel the shoulder draw downward. Relax the jawline. Notice if your teeth are clenched together. Relaxing the jawline. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And just letting your breath be nice and easy. And then maybe rotating the head upward towards the ceiling a little bit more, and same thing. Extending the head back. Looking at the corner of the ceiling of the room. And so you can do that for your sternocleidoid the SCM muscles and your scalenes as well too. And then another exercise that I personally really love to do is just a little bit of a massage along the back of your neck here. And so when we are massaging the back of your neck, what you're actually trying to target is not just the trapezius muscle that is the surface layer, the top layer, but also the splenius capitis muscle. So the splenius capitis muscle is really powerful in extending the head back, but oftentimes what we're doing is when we're sitting in front of a computer and you are looking straight ahead, and what happens is our head starts to protrude forward, and what also happens is we also slightly extend our head in order to see what's in front of us, because if we start to protrude our head forward, our gaze is going to go downward. So in order to be able to compensate that, we start to turn and extend the neck as well too. And so there are certain muscles in the back that also becomes really engaged. So what we're trying to do is start to lengthen that and create some more mobility in our neck area. Okay, and so with this, what we're going to do is you're going to, this is more of a motion where you're going to bring your chin, bring your gaze to center, and then slowly you're going to rotate your head, and I'm rotating to my right, so follow me. So rotate your head to the right, and then drop your chin down as if you're bringing your chin to look at your armpit. And so do that a few rounds. And then so one simple movement, diagonal motion down towards your shoulder or towards your armpit here. It's like if you were to raise your arm. This is kind of funny. You're just like, I wonder if my armpit's full. So, but it's a fun way to just remember that motion, right? So as you're doing that, you're rotating and you're holding, and just repeating this once again, 10 reps, just to create that motion here. And what you're doing is you're stretching out the splenius capitis muscle here. And then all the while as you're doing that, keep your chin tucked in. Chin tucked in towards the back of your throat here. And your chin tucked in, and then you stretch. Now, after you finish your 5 to 10 reps, then what you do is you take your hand and you go along the back and you stroke from the base of your neck all the way up towards the middle top part of your skull, or bottom part of your neck. Okay, let's start that over. So you're going to take your hand, stroke it from the base of your neck, and then you're going to work up towards the center, to the top part of your neck. And so you stroke that a few times, and it's just a way to be able to lengthen out those muscles, and you're using your own hands to connect through, and just feel the tension, and just connect your hands there, and allow yourself to give yourself a gentle, well-deserved massage, right? And you do that on both sides. Same thing, if you want to repeat on this side, same thing. What you're going to do is gaze over, and then turn over to your left, and then drop down towards your left shoulder. So as you're doing that, repeat that for 5 to 10 reps. And then after you complete your 5 to 10 reps, you turn your head over, drop your chin down, and then from here, once again, you're going to take your hand and you're going to slide from the base of your neck and then work your way up towards the top of your neck. Working along the right side of the neck here. Feel free to close your eyes and just notice the sensation that that you're feeling with your fingers moving along, and just noticing where along that neck is holding extra tension. And if you're feeling extra tension in a specific part, just gently put some pressure, a little bit more there, broad pressure there, and then focus on breath. So when you're doing these movements, breath is just as important as the movement itself, because it helps to calm your nervous system down when you're consciously slowing down the rhythm of your breath. And then coming back to center. The next thing you're going to do, another exercise we're going to do, is basically releasing some of the tension that's built up in the smaller muscles that sits right at the base of your skull, which is, if you were to slide your hand to the back of your head, and then from there you slide it under the skull here, there's a little indentation, and it's between the skull and your neck. So there's a little bit of a dip there. So this is where the first two segments of your cervical spine, your neck, along your spine, the top of your neck here, the first two bone structures are, there's muscles, really small muscles that actually attach to those first two segments of your bone to you from your skull, the bottom of your skull. And this is really important because most of the time these are known as suboccipital muscles. They're known as a way to help you hold your posture, but it also has some movement for extension as well too. But oftentimes what happens is, as I was describing earlier, when your head protrudes forward, when we think about times when you're stressed, think about times when you're feeling anxious or you feel tense, shoulders may sneak up. When you feel like you're anticipating what's going to happen, your head may start to draw forward, and it's not just about the activities you're doing in front of you, but it just may be a natural reaction of defense. I'm getting ready to fight. I'm getting ready to defend myself. I'm getting ready to be prepared for whatever it is that is going to be attacking me. And life sometimes may feel like it's attacking you. And so when we do that, our bodies may hold that posture, and what happens is head protrudes forward once again, and the top segment of our spine starts to actually extend as well too, in order to keep our gaze in horizon. So those little muscles, those suboccipital muscles, are working really, really hard. So what we're trying to do is just trying to release some of that tension there. So you slide your thumbs underneath your skull, right below your skull, and right away you're going to connect to those suboccipital muscles there. And there's about 4 different muscle bellies there that you're wanting to stretch out. And then from here, bring your chin in towards the back of your throat, just tuck it in. And then from here, it's going to just gently stretch through. And then what you're going to do is place the palm of your hand behind your head and slowly press your head into the palm of your hand. And all the while, a little bit of pressure onto those SOT muscles here. And then all you're doing is just continually pressing back into the palm of your hand. If your shoulders are, it's harder for your arms to come up over, you can lay on your back and do this as well too. And you're pressing your head, you're tucking your chin, and from here you're slowly lifting and pressing your head into the floor. So just stay here for a few more rounds. Breath. And then you slowly relax. So you may notice just from those little exercises that we're doing there, it can actually help to release some tension that you may be feeling. The last exercise that we did, especially if you're struggling with tension headaches, this is a really powerful way to be able to help to maybe release some of that. Oftentimes, when we're feeling stressed, there's a lot of strain in our muscles. We start to tighten everything. We come into more of a flex position, and then that protrusion of the head, that's where the tension gets pulled into and then transitions into the headache as well too. So just being mindful about that. The next thing that I want to be able to show is just range of motion. It's really important to move your head. Think about the times when you're sitting in front of your computer. How many hours are you sitting in front of your computer? How many hours are you just sitting there? You may look over just to grab a phone or your cup of coffee or tea or something, but how are you really truly working that range of motion, allowing yourself to really bend the head from one side to the next? So even just gentle, so tucking the chin in, neck circles here. So you're just circling your head around, and then you're connecting with the breath as you're doing this. So inhale as you circle your head halfway to one side, and exhale as you continue the circular motion. And just playing around with that and then switching directions. The more you do this, the more mobility you'll have with your neck, especially if you're feeling a lot of tension, if you're feeling like there's the range of motion hasn't been there. I myself have some arthritic degeneration, but just because you have degeneration doesn't mean that you can't move your head. It's really important to maintain motion. Motion is life. Just like emotion in our body needs to move, we need some way to express that. We need to, sometimes we have, when we are hurt, we cry, right? When you are angry, you want to yell. Those are ways for the body to actually dissipate extra energy in order for the body to process what is actually going on. So now we start to move into the mental emotional component of the neck and neck pain and the headaches as well too. Before we do that, I want to also mention, this show is actually sponsored personally by just our practice, Wild and Precious Optimal Living. And one thing that I have really enjoyed in coming together, teaming up with my husband, Dr. Sam, in working together is just the technology that we have. We have this really great platform. It's a interactive video game platform that is specifically used to rehab the weaker areas of your brain. So our brain is developed from bottom up, and at the same time, there's the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain. So there's a lot going on. There's over 1 billion different neural pathways just in our brain itself. And so we want to make sure that those areas, those different regions of the brain that are involved in so many different physiological functions in terms of also how we are processing emotion, how we're understanding the world around us, how we are learning, how we're moving, all of that is involved in the brain. And so we want to make sure that all those areas are functioning at its most optimum. So this NeuroSage platform that we actually have in the office is really powerful for helping people target chronic pain, people struggling with depression, anxiety. Essentially, we look back at how is the brain functioning, how's the nervous system functioning, and we get to pair that with chiropractic, and that helps to ultimately increase the resilience of your nervous system. So we have this really great special. My husband absolutely loves working with kids. I love working with women and who are struggling with postpartum depression or who are struggling with just some major transitions in their life and chronic pain. And together we are using NeuroSage to help kiddos who are struggling with ADD, ADHD, and we're using this NeuroSage on top of chiropractic to help rehab. And so right now we have a really great offer. We would love to be able to talk to you and maybe see if this is a good fit for you, or your child. And so right now we're offering complimentary consultations for throughout May and June. And these complimentary consultations include a one-on-one where we sit together and learn more about your health goals, your health concerns. We share a little bit more about what we do. And then on top of that, we do a complimentary heart rate variance scan or a stress scan to see how adaptive is your nervous system now with these things that's going on in your mind, with your body. And so please, we highly encourage you to take advantage of this. There's no obligation, but it's an opportunity to talk to a practitioner and really look at the big picture aspect of the body, looking at the holistic aspect of how your body's functioning. So if you're interested in this and you're in the local area, give us a call at 720-667-3650. Again, it's 720-667-3650. Now, back to talking about the mental emotional component, right? So we talked about some of these different exercises of how you can start to create some greater range of motion with your neck. Now, I have a couple of really great resources, and I'm a continual student of this as well too. And it really started with my own personal journey, becoming a yoga teacher, and also my own personal struggles of how I identified my body and starting to relate how there are patterns or limited or beliefs and values in terms of how I relate to the world, and in turn how my body starts to carry and respond to that as well too. So your mind is reflected in every part of your body. Neuroscientists have found that the limbic system is also a place where a limbic system where it's processing or it's controlling a lot of the autonomic functions or the physiological functions of your body, is also a place where it's processing emotions like fear and pleasure. And so it goes hand in hand. We cannot separate mind from body. It's not just two separate compartmentalized entities, right? what's going on with the neck, what's going on with the headache, can give us a better relationship to how we're relating to the world. So I just wanted to give you some insights to that and tie that into an exercise. So rather than actually lecturing my way through, it's going to be more of personal reflection exercise now, right? So let's do this. Now you're going to come into a comfortable seated position once again, shifting your body, and you're going to feel your head align over your heart, heart aligning over your solar plexus, and solar plexus aligning over your pelvis. Shoulders are relaxed, and then just be, and if you have, if you have a chair, a support behind you, feel free to just feel yourself relax into that. Now, today we're particularly talking about headaches and neck pain, but if there's any other areas in your body that's been troubling you, it's an opportunity to be able to check in with yourself in those areas as well too. And if you're feeling great, that's awesome. An opportunity then is just to close your eyes and then start to become attuned to, is every part of your body consistent? And there may be different rhythms in our body. So we're going to start off with that same exercise that we did last time, which is your stage 1 somatic respiratory integration, which is taught by Dr. Donald Epstein, another amazing chiropractor, developer of the network spinal analysis program. And so with SRI, what you're simply doing is you're becoming aware of the different rhythms of your body. So we're all going to start off with your one hand on top of the other, and over your chest space, right below your collarbone. And I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just noticing if there's ease when you breathe into the space here. It's easy for you to connect to the space. Now slide your hands down to the second region, which is where the bottom of your floating ribs start to meet at the top of your solar plexus here. And then once again, eyes are closed, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Two more rounds. In through the nose, out through the mouth. As you're breathing into the second region, you may notice that it's easier for you to focus on this point or breathe into this point or connect to this point compared to the first region. Or maybe harder, and that's good awareness to have. And then slide your hands down below the belly button, and same thing again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Repeating this for 2 more rounds. Just notice your experience here and how it compares between the first and second region. So, was it the first region that was easiest for you to breathe into, which was right below the collarbone? Was it the second region, which is at the top of your solar plexus, where the floating ribs meet? Or where your ribs start to intersect, actually? Or is it below your belly button, that third region? So which area was easiest for you to breathe into today? Okay? So from there, closing your eyes, slide your hands down to that area that was the greatest rapport, that was easiest for you to connect to, and I want you to breathe in there for 3 rounds. Just noticing how fluid it feels here. It feels good. There's aspects of our life just like this, as you're breathing in and out, where I could stay here forever. It just feels good. I love this conversation, or I love this moment, or I love this type of food, and it's comfortable. This is my safe spot. Now slide your hands to that place that was hardest for you to connect to. Now it could be the 3 regions that we had listed, Or you can actually slide your hand over to the neck. Perhaps it's placing your hand around the neck if you're feeling extra tension there. Or maybe your head, and then just bringing your hand around the area where you're feeling that extra tension. And it's just that tactile awareness of, I'm not going to run away from this pain. I'm not trying to get rid of it, although that's our first intuition is, uh-oh, there's pain, there's discomfort, I need to get away from this pain right now. However, it's going to find other ways to show up. So by acknowledging and just holding space and just saying, sometimes I feel pain, it's a really great way to just allow your body to accept it, for you mentally to actually hold space for it and see what else is going to reveal from this practice. So sliding your hand to the area of disconnect, and eyes are closed once again, either to the neck or to the headache or wherever you're feeling that tension. And from there, breathing in through the nose, you're just discovering the area. You're holding space, but you're not trying to fix it or get rid of it. It's just there. You're just saying, hey, sometimes I'm just feeling this. In through the nose, out through the mouth, through the nose. And then from here, slide your hands back to that energy-rich area, the greatest rapport that you had there. And same thing, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. 3 rounds here where it's just easy. Once again, it's safe, right? We like to go to that safe space. And it's fine to have that safe space. It's fine to have that energy fulfilling richness space. We want to just do that all the time. And then once again, slide your hands down up to the place where it was greatest disconnect or where you're feeling that pain or tension. And then bring your hands there and breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And at the same time, this is also part of who you are. It's not a separate entity. Your neck pain isn't something that you can just grab a hold and throw out. It's part of you. So all you're doing is holding space and recognizing. And if it helps in the space in the room that you're in, just whispering out loud as you breathe out, sometimes I feel pain. By just acknowledging that, you're no longer fighting it, you're no longer resisting it, so it's not getting any louder. It's just holding space for it, holding space for what you're noticing. Now, as you continue to focus on that area, feel free to just relax your arms or your hands are getting tired, or continue to hold space there and just feel that connection. Wherever it is where you're noticing that pain, and eyes are closed, and as you're doing that, your inner gaze, your inner focus stays in that region there. And from there, what you're doing is you're slowly starting to just become inquisitive child, like a curious kid. And starting to ask yourself, if it's around your headache, what is it that you've been resisting lately? Or is it a sense of overwhelm that you're noticing? What's the emotion when you connect to this place? When we think about our head and neck is a passage that connects the mind to the heart. And oftentimes when we put so much energy, we're thinking so much about planning analytically about what's going to happen next, what's the right thing to do, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. We get so focused on that, all the energy is constantly in planning and criticizing and critiquing and breaking things apart before things have happened, or recalling things from the past and we're continually working through it. Something that's happened in the past that we can't change. The mind is so much energy in the heart. We forget the heart space. And that's where the overwhelm tension is heading, the tension heading is moving towards. What are you worrying about? As your eyes are closed and connecting to that space, the tension at the head or the neck, what is it that you're trying to hold on to, or you're limiting your ability to accept, or what have you been avoiding? And as you're breathing into the area of tension, What emotion is showing up for you? And you ask yourself, what have I been avoiding? When you think about something that you've been avoiding, or you think about something that you've been overwhelmed about, what emotion may show up? And as you're doing that, starting to ask yourself, when did that start to happen? What event or what image comes to your mind that's evoking that emotion or that pattern? As you're breathing into the space now, maybe you can even declare, sometimes I'm afraid. Sometimes I feel fear. Sometimes I'm afraid to let go of control. Sometimes I'm afraid of how others will perceive me. When we're thinking about headaches, it's this worry about how others will perceive you, this overwhelm, trying to appear perfect to the world, and holding back in how we truly feel and what we want to say because we fear of offending others, or perhaps we fear how others may react, or especially our loved ones, and how they would accept us if we were allowing ourselves to really communicate that. And it can go deep, it can go all the way down back to childhood. Our patterns of how the experiences that we've had, our trauma that we've had when we were kids. But just by doing this little practice where you're starting to just hold space for what you're feeling now, and then doing that deeper introspection of like, when did this begin? What is this relationship? What is showing up with the emotion when I think about this or an event that may be showing up? Then it becomes a different conversation of how you're working with that pain. Then you can start to take action and start to change and notice your patterns and be more mindful of it and redirect your thoughts. So as you continue to stay here, once again slide your hands to that place of energy richness. So that place that felt safe, that region. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Once again, connect to that good spot, that sweet spot, that happy place. We can have that in mind. And we can also acknowledge the struggles that we go through so that we can start to turn that around as well too. Now feel free to come back to that place of disconnect or pain or dis-ease that you're feeling on your own time too, and you can continue this exercise. Our time is almost up here, actually. It's up with our radio show, but I want to be able to end with this story here, which I came across in the Sun magazine, and this I feel connects to the headaches and the neck pain that we're feeling, or the neck tension that you're feeling, and so it's just a question for you. So the story that I read in the Sun magazine, it's a great magazine if you're ever curious about it. A lot of people are writers. They're creative. Creativity gets expressed through their own words, and so this magazine invites people to submit their work. And this month it was the theme of fear. And a woman had submitted a story about how, since she was young, she's always been fascinated with the story of with jaws, with sharks, and their predator type of personality, and the scene how movies start to create this fear behind like this powerful mammal. So with the story, this woman's always been fascinated with sharks. And so she's always wanted to go diving and learn and actually be in a cage, encased in a cage where sharks are swimming all around her so she can overcome this fear. And so she and her husband go on this trip where they actually get to be standing in the shark cage in the middle of the sea somewhere. And before she jumps in, the captain throws over like four, like a ton of fish over the boat so that it starts to attract the sharks. And so she goes through the whole process. She's in the cage and she goes into the sea and into the ocean, and she has the interaction with the sharks, and she actually finds out that they're actually pretty timid as far as mammals goes. And so she was able to overcome that fear. And coming up back on the boat, she was actually really excited because she saw across the way in the ocean whales that were just showing up. And so she grabbed her camera and she wanted to take pictures of those whales. And so she leaned her body out halfway so she could get closer and get a better shot of those whales. And in that process, she totally forgot that the captain had thrown over a ton of different fish meat and everything that attracted the sharks. So there were actually still sharks around the boat. And at that moment, she realized, I've always wondered what happened to that inner child, that wild child in me that was excited and was carefree. And at that moment when she was taking pictures of those whales and totally careless of what was going on outside of the boat where the sharks were, she's like, oh, there she is. And so just this reminder that we all have an inner child within us that loves to have fun. And that's one thing I really learned with my 3-year-old is it's okay to get dirty in the dirt. It's okay to run across the field for no apparent reason for a game or anything like that. Just running, with your arms out and just making sounds and just having fun. And we get caught up with a lot of chatter with the things that we have responsibilities for. We get caught up with a lot of politics outside, and we hear media and everything else. But a question for you is, what is it you're going to do today to get in touch with your inner child, to just have fun, to show yourself some love? And so I hope that you go out and have some fun, and feel free to share your experiences. I'd love to be able to hear from you as well too. My Facebook and my Instagram page, or practice Instagram page, is at Wild Precious Optimal Living. So it's just at Wild Precious Optimal Living. I invite you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and I really look forward to being able to connect with you through all the different things that we have going on. And this is Dr. Lynn Tran McDonald with the Wild and Precious Optimal Living Show. And the most important thing is do something wild and precious, because you have just this one life. All right, thank you.